This is Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
Hi, my name is Ray Cabe, and I'm the head of operations here in GSI. I've been working with Guild for 4 years now, started 2017. So as an operations lead, I ensure that day-to-day operations run smoothly for both staff and onshore managers. Usually, I have a brief catch-up with team members on how they are and how are they coping up with the current situation. And also, I'm doing some administrative functions to support the teams here in Manila. The teams that are reporting to myself is the quality team. I'm also indirectly managing claims and admin operations team, and with Guild Link some of the administrative functions. I had worked with different companies now, and I can say that Guild is the most humane company that I've ever been with. They see people as the treasure of the company and even extending great efforts to support people's welfare. Change is very constant, and we need to adapt to whatever is present. As I know that every staff is unique and has unique personality. When you have a bunch of these unique persons in your group, one leadership style wouldn't work out. So it's a combination of different styles that I learned from during the past few years. True introspection might be a bit hard, as it requires an acknowledgement of your own flaws and weaknesses. But through this, you'll know where and how to direct your energies. And as you know yourself better, you will have a clear idea of what is right or wrong. And because leaders will be seen as people of influence, whether it be on actions or words. Once they see a positive influence on you, then you're on the great start of being a leader.
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Ash, the New South Wales Workers' Comp Team Manager. I've been with Guild for 2.5 years now. Prior to Guild, I was in workers' compensation roles at QBE and GIO Insurance. So I've been in the workers' comp industry for about 12 years now. From this incoming role, I'm expecting a hard-working administration claims officer to help us with processing invoices and entering and lodging new claims. Someone that will fit in with the team and get along with the current claims officers, as well as being able to interact with the workers' comp managers here to help out with any queries or inquiries. I think my management style is fairly relaxed, as well as still being helpful and proactive in any needs and training that any of the staff require. Always approachable and open to any questions and helping with any work that needs to get done. The shifts that we'll be offering are 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. local time, Monday to Fridays with weekends off. Some requirement for public holidays depending on timing and workload and things like that.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
Hi, Lynn.
Hello, Ray.
And hello to everyone watching. Good day to all of you. I am Ray.
And I am Lynn, and we will be your host for today.
Yeah, a week ago, Jel Nolasco, Guild Solutions Inc. VP and COO, gave his insightful presentation on how to present virtually. You can catch the previous episode of GSI Conference on our social media pages, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or stream on Spotify.
That's right, Ray, and we surely learned a lot from that session. If you're looking for more learning sessions, job opportunities, and news about the company, please follow us on our official social media properties. So make sure you don't miss our live events. This April, Guild Solutions Inc. is holding its annual GSI Conference, a week long event where we host learning sessions for our staff.
And GSI 21 has always been so much fun, but today we're doing this differently. With this year's theme, Expand Horizon, Expand Opportunities, we'll be featuring insightful talks on professional growth from speakers within and outside of our organization. For 4 years, this is the first time we're opening our learning sessions to the public.
Yup, and it has been exciting. We already featured Mr. Froilan Florendo of HR Network last April
Yeah.
8, and then our very own Gel Nolasco last April 15. Both had given very insightful talks that our audience surely learned from. So today, our last session of GSI Conference 2021, we will be speaking with none other than Ian Moses, Guild Solutions Inc.'s President and CEO.
Yes, this episode of GSI Conference is made possible by Guild Solutions and Enablin Media. For our viewers in the Philippines, we will be flashing information on your screen on how to request for a certificate of attendance throughout this event. To avoid distractions and ensure maximum participation, the form will only be active at certain times of this event. So please watch out for announcements.
Ray, I think our audience on social media are saying hi, so let's go and greet them.
Okay, yes, let's do it. Saying hi to Lenny, saying good morning. Hi, Lenny. And also for Jalmar, good morning, watching from Negros Oriental State University.
Wow,
Uh,
from Visayas.
yeah, all the way from Negros. And also CJ Capara saying good morning. Good morning to you as well, CJ. And also Trinidad saying good morning. Good morning to everyone. Akotin Castor is also saying good morning. Jeroni Leadership P. Castor from CEU Library, Manila.
Hello.
Also in Manila. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello to everyone. So that's it for now. If you have any questions regarding the show, or if you have any questions directly for our guests, don't forget to type it in. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
And we are now transitioning to the main show. You're watching GSI Conference.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
problems, we only see solutions. We think differently and we're proactive, and most importantly, we make things happen.
We see people as the treasure of the company and even extending great efforts to support people's welfare.
For all of you, ultimately you don't feel like because you're female you have to be just to kind of say yes when you're given an opportunity can lead you to the next thing, and you never know where you're going to end up. And most importantly, we make things happen.
This is Enablin Media, enabling content through new media. This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
Good day again to all of you. I am Lynn.
And I am Ray, and welcome to GSI Conference 21. In today's session, we are going to look at how remote working can be enabled through effective leadership and trust. Lynn, will you do the honor of introducing our speaker?
Sure, Ray. So, our speaker for today is a very experienced leader with over 18 years of experience across different companies like Guild Group of Companies, CGU, and Ford Motor Company. He has held several lead positions in all of his work.
Yes, a result-focused professional with proven capabilities spanning range of functional roles and subject matter. He has experience across the planning and delivery lifespan cycle from strategy development through the project execution.
He is also a certified Six Sigma Black Belt, and he has a demonstrable record of delivering business and customer benefit.
Yeah, that's right, Lynn. Add to that also, he is an experienced senior leader with significant training and mentoring experiences. He's also an excellent communicator, adept at work with stakeholders with from shop floor to executive seniors.
A graduate of Bachelor of Engineering, Chemical and Bioprocess Engineering from Swinburne University of Technology. So our speaker loves to tinker vintage cars and do little projects around the house. He also loves spending quality time with his kids and stay as fit as possible. Without further ado, friends, let us all welcome the President and CEO of Guild Solutions Inc., our very own Ian Moses.
Hi, Ian.
Hi,
Hi, Lynn. Hi.
Ian. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that fabulous introduction.
No.
It's great to be with you, and I appreciate the work that you've done to this point.
We are very excited. Yeah, we are very excited to hear it from our president.
Yes. Mhm.
So, Lynn, did you want me to? Do you want me to get started?
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead,
please.
Ian.
Thanks, both. Okay, so I do welcome everyone who's online. I think we have over 100 people now watching. So hello to everyone from wherever you are around the world, predominantly in the Philippines, but I think we might have a few others from around the globe as well. Welcome. This is the last official talk of the conference, of GSI's conference, which has lasted a couple of weeks now. This is a new format for us, given the global situation. And personally, looking on, I think it's been very successful. So before I go any further, I did want to thank Gel, who's been at the forefront of getting this together. So Gel Nolasco, who's the COO for GSI, and who does all of the work in the background. I wanted to thank him, of course, Ray and Lynn, and also Sam, who's behind the scenes pulling this presentation together. There's been so much work in the last few weeks to get all this done. So thanks, guys. What a great team. Further, I just wanted to say thanks to all of the team at GSI. It's been a difficult 12 months, but you are the most resilient team that I've ever worked with, and I really appreciate all of the efforts that you're putting in. And as soon as I can get over to see you and meet some of you who I haven't met to date, I will do. So thanks all, and keep up the good work. And I do hope that we continue to keep the engagement high despite the obvious challenges. Just before again I get into the main presentation on trust, again I just wanted to say best wishes to everyone around the world, but particularly in the Philippines who perhaps are doing things hard with the pandemic at the moment. We do hope that it gets better in the coming months, and that you and your families remain safe until such time as there's a vaccine and we can move beyond our current state. So best wishes. So on with the show, and Sam, I'll get you to throw up the presentation. Now, with 100 people online, I am hoping for this to be interactive. I want all of you to be contributing questions, comments. This is more fun when there's more than just me speaking. So please throw up any questions. I'll take you through what I will be presenting today, and it will be focused on my view on trust and how trust has worked for building GSI to where it is today, but also how trust as a concept can work for you personally and also in the workplace. So this is for both for those of you who perhaps are in management positions or leadership positions or aspiring, or even any member of staff that has a team that you're working with. These are some things to take away. So today, I wanted to start with a quick survey, actually. So I'll be doing that in a moment, and then we'll get into I'll get into some insights, and I'll give you some views on how I view trust within the work context. So with the survey, Sam has been kind enough to set up a quick poll here. And this is fairly simple, 2 questions. So for those of you that can, it would be good if you can head over to that web address there, and you'll find 2 questions. They are fairly straightforward and they're listed here. So out of this list, who would you consider the most trustworthy? And this is obviously, this is not a not specific list. So this is not your favorite bus driver, for example. This is a bus driver. So who would you consider most trustworthy on this list? And the second question is really, why do you consider that person the most trustworthy? So what we'll do is, Sam, are you able to tick over to the next slide with the second question? There we go. So that's what makes this person trustworthy. You'll find both of these questions at the poll there. What we were going to do now is just pause for a couple of minutes and allow you all to submit a vote. Hopefully we'll get a couple of votes. We'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back with the answers, and then I'll attempt to find some insights out of that, and we'll kick off the main presentation. So with that, Sam, might allow us to go to have a quick 2-minute break.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
and most importantly, we make things happen.
This is Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
I think there's a couple of different things. I think, and I'll talk about it in a second, but I think learning to be resilient, sometimes it's just, you just got those tough days, you've got, moment, everyone has it in different aspects. So sometimes you just go, oh, I don't know how I can finish it. But as you go on, you realize, oh, it wasn't that hard, or I've gotten through it and I can see the end, right? So I think that really helps. As you keep progressing, you see that you're actually progressing. But I think generally what I found with like tough goals or anything where you feel like you're having a stretch, I think making sure you're patient, because that's not a virtue of mine. I'll freely admit sometimes you want to just rush to the end and get a good outcome, but being patient and sort of working through that, I think, is important, and making sure there's consistency. So the days when it's not going to be great, but waking up, showing up for it, being positive, being cheerful, I think that all sort of helps you along the journey. Always be you, unashamedly you. Don't feel like because you're female you have to be different, or you have your shortcomings as such. It's just a different perspective. So making sure that you are comfortable and that you're able to express what you feel in your own way. And also to all of my male colleagues, making sure you're championing women and making sure giving them opportunities. And sometimes you find women can be more harsh on themselves, like in terms of, you can be your own worst critic. So encouraging, women to take that extra challenge when they feel that they can't do it. So making sure you push each other along. But yeah, you're worth it, women. You can do whatever you put your mind to. So that's what I would leave that to.
Attention to be in IT for me, and to be completely honest, I'm not a technical person, but I sit within the technology team, so I kind of straddle both worlds. But it wasn't my intention to be a technologist, or even to work with intranets or digital workplace kind of thing. But I fell into this field by accident, and then what kind of led me here was really just saying yes to every time I was given an opportunity. And I think that's something that is scary and that we don't always want to do, but just to kind of say yes when you're given an opportunity can lead you to the next thing, and you never know where you're going to end up. So trying not to be scared, and kind of remembering that we stand on the shoulders of so many women before us who would have given anything for the opportunities that we're being given now. So if it's in you to want to say yes, just do. And I think the other thing is also, how do you find something meaningful in what you're doing? So finding that meaningful why. I work in technology, I work for an insurance company, financial services. I don't save people's lives every day kind of thing, and I sometimes think, am I doing enough? But as a company, and like from some of the videos that we've been seeing, our mission is to be there for those that our communities rely on. So even though I never meet those customers and I never kind of see those communities firsthand, every day I turn up to help make the experience of the people here at Guild as good as possible, so that they can make the experience for our customers as good as possible, so our customers can help our communities. So I might not be saving lives directly, but I'm having a meaningful impact with what I do.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
Okay, we're back. And through the power of technology and Ray and Sam doing work in the background, I think we have some results. Thank you to everyone who who hit the link and put in their answers. And here we go. So for the first one, and I'm getting old, Ray. My eyes are deceiving me. You might need to help me with expanding that. Right. So who do you trust most on the list? It looks like doctor is out there in front with a school teacher, the bus driver, the lawyer, and look at that. A senior manager at your company is fairly unpopular. Okay, so I don't think many people would be surprised. I'm not surprised by how that plays out. I would have thought a doctor and school teacher come out first. I think I've seen surveys, fairly broad surveys, which show that trust is the highest in doctors, teachers, and policemen, which I didn't have on the list. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the result. Let's look at the answer to the second question before I just add my comments on this. And what makes that person trustworthy in your mind? So experience comes in, as well as education, attitude and behaviours, good track record, and crisis. So we look for people who have experience with the right training, and that's what appears to inform how trustworthy someone is. That makes sense to me, and I would have, had I predicted the results of this poll, that's exactly how I would have read it. I think what's interesting for me in looking at that is, well, one, senior managers at your company rank fairly lowly. Let's hope that no one at GSI was in this particular survey. However, if we look at why we're assessing that someone is trustworthy or not, experience and training, I guess I look at this and I think, well, when you start at a company, most companies these days have quite sophisticated ways of recruiting new staff. People don't tend to just walk in from the street and get a job. It's very competitive these days. I'm sure most of you who have looked for a job in recent times have been through a pretty rigorous process, perhaps some online testing, training. For sure, you've probably gone to university and have done courses, have been to seminars, and highly likely have a lot of experience. So if you look at it from that perspective, the people that you work with and work for are probably likely to have quite a bit of experience and the right educational qualifications to justify being trustworthy. And I tend to think that we walk into a situation at work sometimes and assume that someone isn't capable, when particularly in the environments that we find ourselves, where someone has had to work hard to get to that spot and that desk who's sitting next to you, perhaps we should be assuming that actually perhaps that person is capable. And that's the way I wanted to start thinking about this as we move through the next 15 or 20 minutes. So, Sam, if you're able to move on, thank you again for your insights and the survey. I've got a bit of fun here just before I kick off again. So there's this is a video on trust. Some of you might have seen it, but I always think it's a bit of fun. Some of you might have done this if you've gone to an off-site team event and there's an exercise on trust. I'll just let the video play for you. Thanks, Sam. So this is someone where you must trust that someone's going to catch you and you just fall. And here it goes. Yeah, that's not the way that trust works. I think it's particularly great. I hope that little girl wasn't too injured. Thanks, Sam. We've probably seen that one enough. Yeah. Okay. Just before I get into my views on trust, I'll give you some background on GSI, and this will help with then demonstrating how trust has helped GSI in our short history. So Guild Group Holdings, who's an Australian-based company, actually partnered with a BPO, another Australian BPO or business process outsourcing company, back in 2017, and we established a team of 17 staff in Manila. And I think we still have a handful of staff still working with us to this day, 4 or 5 years later. So we started with a core team of 17, and those staff were not employees of the Guild Group, but worked exclusively with us. From there, over the next 2 years, as the team gained the trust, if you like, of the onshore teams, we actually grew to 25 staff, so slow but steady. And that also included an expansion across skills, so not only through insurance, but HR, IT, customer service style roles. From 2019 through to 2020 was a period where myself and Joel looked to establish Guild Solutions Inc. in Manila, and we did so as a fully owned subsidiary of the group. Yeah, you can move next. Thanks, Sam. So that was happening in 2019 and 2020. And of course, at this point, that's when the pandemic hits. So in our planning, the pandemic hits and the whole world is turned upside down. Pleasingly, within 48 hours, really, of the pandemic taking hold, all of our staff went to remote work. And I believe that many of you online now have probably experienced that or are experiencing that. But we were able to maintain standard operational levels. And to this day, that all staff continue to work from home. But despite that, and despite the pandemic being a real hassle in terms of getting a company up and running, there were lots of delays. We were able to do it, and in 2020, we transitioned to all staff working for Guild Solutions Inc. So that's a short story of where Guild Solutions has come from. So I'll let you I'll just park that for one moment, and I'll get into how trust has helped support that. Oh, of course. Okay, so I'll just, as of today, we've gone from 25 to 35 staff. So again, we've continued to grow and grow quickly, actually, in the last 12 months. And we've got 10 staff that have never seen the inside of our very nice office in BGC, which has never been used, which is quite unfortunate, but at some point soon, hopefully we will. Thanks, Sam. So this is what I've coined the circle of trust, and hopefully some of this resonates with you. I'll start with this concept of, trusting someone or trusting a team. What does that do? Well, when you give your trust or have trust in someone, that empowers that person or that team. So they feel like they have the ability to get on and get going with the job, so they feel empowered. What happens when you are empowered? When you're empowered, you take ownership, and by ownership, you're accountable for what happens, the good, the bad. But typically, when you have ownership, you have a lot more intent on getting something done. Also, when you feel empowered and you have ownership, you're typically more creative. It's in your best interest to get a solution, and when you have many heads thinking, often the solutions that are delivered they might be very different to what was imagined in the first place. So empowering a team, empowering an individual, giving them ownership often leads to creative solutions. And solutions then lead to delivery. And typically, once a team has delivered, then that delivers trust. And this is the virtuous circle of trust. Now, the question is, where do you start on this circle? And I have a personal view that I like to start in the trust box. I like to to trust first, because what that does is then that starts the circle off in the right way. And it means that the team feel accountable, feel empowered to go off and do the job, which I know they're experienced and they're capable of doing, because we've hired the right people. And as I said at the start, we've been through a very rigorous process. If we have a staff member in the organisation, they're there for a reason. And so I trust that they have the credentials and they have the ability and they have the willingness to do exactly what we've shown here. That's not always the case though. And I think traditionally, trust has perhaps had to be earned rather than assumed. And that's the subtle shift, which I think is important and can really lead to highly beneficial results for everyone. So I'll illustrate this in the form of a project, if you like, and what this can look like. So if we look at how a standard project tends to run, there's a task that needs to be done. There are some goals that come from the task. Then you go about actually doing that task, managing the delivery of that project. There are issues along the way, and you get to the end. That's a standard project timeline. There might be other ways, other descriptors, but that's typically how it goes. So in a traditional project, when you're setting the task, thanks, Sam. As a project manager, you'll instruct the team on what needs to be done. So there'll be a list of things, and it might be very prescriptive. We'll define the goals. I'll say, well, here are all the milestones, and here's when I need to have everything done. Here's a project plan potentially with key activities, etc. When managing delivery, there'll be lots of meetings, project team meetings, perhaps check-ins, lots of graphs and governance style activities to make sure that everyone is doing what they should be doing, and then we'll be checking in. There'll be issues to resolve, and a lot of the time, the project team, the project manager might go in and start to look at the solutions for those problems. And then at the end, there'll be a ceremony. The team will be thanked, and typically they'll move on to the next project. So that's fairly standard, and that's how things work. What I'm suggesting is, in a trust-first mindset, maybe we ask different questions, or there's a different approach in some for these activities. So when setting the task, instead of instructing the team on the task, establishing what the priorities are, and being less prescriptive about what needs to be done, and more aligned on what the priorities are for that team. For the goals, instead of milestones and timing, talking about what success looks like, and letting the team or the team member understand, based on what the priorities and what success looks like, what the goals, what the milestones need to be. And some of this is subtle language. In managing delivery, strict oversight and check-ins may well be replaced by accountability, and this comes back to the circle I talked about. So having someone empowered and accountable is much, in my view, is much healthier and much more successful in getting a positive outcome than constant check-in. Now, this is one view, and obviously certain situations might dictate that you need to be closer to the action. But in general, creating accountability, in my mind, is more preferable than direct oversight and constant checking. Issue resolution, again, I try not to define solutions, but instead encourage critical thought. I'm certainly, I'm only one person, and I'm never going to have the best idea in the room. That's what we employ smart people for. So providing the framework and the guidelines and encouraging critical thought rather than defining what the solution should be will always result in a better outcome. And then on completion, instead of just closing the project and doing all of the official governance roles that are typically done, for a job well done, it offers the opportunity to expand the scope for next time for that team. And that reinforces the trust that you have in that team, that a good job that's been well done results in a broader scope and the opportunity to do more next time. And in many ways, that's all the success and the reward that people look for is a new challenge, a bigger challenge. So that to me is a subtle shift between a traditional management project management style activity and what a trust first mindset can provide. And if we look at some nice graphs here around the benefits of autonomy, which I put in brackets, is equivalent to trust. So this is a study that was done by another company, but it does show that teams or individuals who feel autonomous deliver have better motivation, more job satisfaction. They don't tend to leave as much. And I think this would resonate with most of you. I hope it would, that when you feel that you're in a safe and trusted environment and you're being given the creative license to use your skills that you've developed to actually deliver projects, it's more likely that you're going to do a better job and you're going to feel better about it. And ultimately, that's the best outcome for everyone involved. Thank you, Sam. So just putting that together with how trust has really benefited GSI. Well, we got a new company started, and 4 years ago, I wouldn't have said that was likely to happen. Having a team in Manila was a very unique proposition for Guild Group, but on the basis of all the hard work that had been done by the team here and the trust that we'd built up, we actually got approval to start a new company and we got it off the ground. So just in itself, that was a measure of trust. 100% of our staff who were with us in our previous with our previous partner elected to join. So that again, joining a new company with which is fresh, no track record, and to leave stable employment to do that, I think is again comes back to trusting in the vision that we had and in the management team that's there in Manila. Well, we had an overnight move to remote work, which again I think many companies have experienced, many employees, but the fact that we were able to do it and that not only our partners, but our government our regulatory bodies, etc., have trusted that we're able to do that. That's been momentous. And in terms of operational management, I haven't been able to visit the company or Manila for the last 12 months. And so the company has been led exclusively by Jell and the team there, Ray and Lynn, and what a great job they've been doing. So it's been an amazing effort, and again, it's all based when you're talking about remote teams, when you can't see someone and you can't be managing someone closely, it comes back to trust. And this is why GSI is successful, is because we have we have a lot of trust within the team, and I'm really proud of that. And that extends to our broader team. Engagement's high, turnover's low. I never take that for granted, but I do think that has something to do with the trust that our staff have in our local leaders to make sure that their needs and their both in a work context and a personal context are met as best we can. And I just wanted to, in conclusion, talk about the story of the fence. Now, this is perhaps a bastardized version of an old of an old tale, but in terms of trust, if you imagine that you have a nice shiny new fence and you put a few nails in it, it doesn't matter if you take the nails out or not. There are going to be some holes left as per this fence. That's a little bit like trust. Once trust is gone, it doesn't matter how you try and repair. The scars are always there. And so, what I do say to all of my team is a trust first mentality is ideal, but what it does mean is that you don't get many chances at it. And I would just caution taking that for granted. We all want to work in a very trustworthy environment, and it's only as good as the culture that you live up to. And so I think it's very precious, and I would caution anyone against taking it for granted, because once it's gone, it's very hard to get back. So that's a bit of a somber way to end, but I think it was important to point out. And with that, I'll just wrap by again reiterating, I guess, the key points. I think there's a lot of benefit in coming with a trust first mindset, whether you're a staff member, a manager, or a leader. The benefits are there in loyalty, accountability. You'll have much more creative solutions, engagement, and you'll get better outcomes. So I would encourage all of you to trust first. Don't assume that there's don't assume problems. Assume that actually there is capability there. And I think you'll find that you'll see a different approach in the way that things are done, and I think they'll be positive. And just my caution there at the end: once trust is gone, it is hard to recover. So I think enter into relationships with the right mindset, and I think there'll be benefit on both sides. I might kick back to Lynn and Ray and see if we've got any questions or comments coming through on the socials. Lynn, I can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so I am on mute. I'm sorry for that. Thank you, Ian, for that. And that was a very insightful discussion. We've learned a lot about trust, right, Ray?
Yes, yes. I also learned a lot, 12. And I'm sure our audience has a lot of questions that they want to ask to you, Ian. But before we go to our question and answer, we'll be taking a few break. And to our viewers, please hold on to your question. You're watching GSI Conference. We'll be back right after the break.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media. Previously on Lods.
How are you?
We got to know more about Belle,
So good to see you again. And hello to everyone. Good
how she
morning.
conquered the biggest names in the tech industry,
Like I was doing interviews like at Facebook then, like, and I saw a job ad on LinkedIn for a PR manager at Spotify, and because like music has been such a big part of my life growing up, music and writing in particular. And so I've been watching Spotify like since they've been, like launched globally. And I was very, very curious about when they would be available in Asia. So
what kept her going against all odds.
And so like from then on, like as the eldest person in the family, I've had to assume like a more like grown up, like out, right? Like I had to grow up overnight.
Watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or stream the podcast version on Spotify. This and other inspiring stories and learning events only here on Enablin Media. Enabling content through new media.
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Ash, the New South Wales Workers' Comp Team Manager. I've been with Guild for 2.5 years now. Prior to Guild, I was in workers' compensation roles at QBE and GIO Insurance. So I've been in the workers' comp industry for about 12 years now. From this incoming role, I'm expecting a hardworking administration claims officer to help us with processing invoices and entering and lodging new claims. Someone that will fit in with the team and get along with the current claims officers, as well as being able to interact with the workers' compensation managers here to help out with any queries or inquiries. I think my management style is fairly relaxed, as well as still being helpful and proactive in any needs and training that any of the staff require. I'm always approachable and open to any questions and helping with any work that needs to get done. The shifts that we'll be offering are 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. local time, Monday to Fridays with weekends off. Some requirement for public holidays depending on timing and workload and things like that.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.
And we're back. That was a very insightful talk with Ian, and we surely learned a lot as he discussed about insights on trust based on the poll that we did conducted. He also talked about the circle of trust and how can we use that framework to our team. Moreover, he discussed the comparison between traditional trust mindsets and on the process flows of projects, and it's clear that the trust mindset is better. He also showed interesting numbers on the benefits of autonomy, telling us that there is indeed advantage on being autonomous. And lastly, he told us a story of GSI and how the trust mindsets has helped our team during this remote work environment. Yeah, right,
Well
Lynn?
said, Ray. Yeah, well said, Ray. Our request portal is now open for our viewers in the Philippines who would like to request a certificate of attendance. So just go to bit.ly/GSI Conference 21 and enter the information requested by the form.
Yeah, some important reminders to our viewers in filling out the form. Number one, please make sure to provide your correct full name and email address. And number two, please make sure to provide the correct answers to the questions. Incorrect answers will be considered invalid.
Right. So again, guys, I would like to repeat what I said. You have to make sure that you provide the correct information, like full name and email addresses. If incorrect answers will be provided, this will be considered invalid.
Yes, correct. Great. Now, quickly, let's say hi to our viewers. Saying hi to Nicole. She's saying good morning. Good morning as well, Nicole. And also for Floor. Trust allows organizations to grow, and in the absence of trust, can lead to fragmentation and conflict.
Yes. Thank you for that, Floor.
And also for Floor, trust has to be earned. Thank you. And also to Karen, thank you for your time to speak to us. God bless. God bless to you as well, Karen.
All
Okay.
right. So it looks like we're ready now to ask Ian some questions. So, Ian, are you ready?
Yes.
I am. Hard questions, no doubt.
And we're looking for our socials for some questions. So one questions that we have is coming from Floor. Floor, how to build trust on, or what are the process to build trust in the organization and win employees to stay in the organization?
Yeah. Okay. So I think we keep this fairly simple at GSI. My view is there's a few parts of this. One, I think leadership has to be approachable. So wherever possible, we don't have a strong hierarchy within GSI. I don't think we do. I think, and I would hope that all of our staff can feel comfortable talking to all of any other staff member, including any manager, including Ray, Lynn, Joe, and myself, and that can be formal or informal. And I think that is the starting point to having conversations. So when you can feel that you can be close to someone, I think that's the starting point to having trust. Secondly, I think we take time to know each other. So it's you feel more trusted when you understand more about someone and you understand their situation. So I think it's important to get to know people. And then thirdly, I think we earn trust by your actions. So saying something and doing something else is never a good idea. So leading by example is often the best way to earn trust. Showing compassion, having a sense of humour, making sure that you prioritise the health and welfare of your team. I think all of that comes back to demonstrating the right principles, and that builds trust. And I think so. It's fairly simple set of requirements there or activities, but hopefully that then leads to an organisation that has trust at its core.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you for that, Ian. And our second question is from Karen Joy Pagyo. So the question is how to regain trust once you've made a mistake. Wow, fantastic question.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think it does depend on the style of mistake, and I do want to clarify that there are mistakes made every day, and in the course of work, there are some mistakes which are good mistakes. If you are working on a problem and you make a mistake because it's something you've not seen before, and you do it with the best of intentions, then one might not call that a mistake. Actually, that's just a learning. So I'm not going to include that because I don't think that's not a mistake, and that's not how we should treat it. Mistakes are generally intentional, or they're something that you probably know better, and yet you do something different. I think the only way to recover is to acknowledge that there has been, you've made that mistake. I understand and make it clear that you understand that there were consequences, and through then working hard to show that there's a change in behaviour. So I don't think there's any easy solution to that one, other than being upfront, acknowledging the issue, and then moving on.
Correct. Right. Thank you, Ian. And then we have another question from CJ Caparas. What are the ways to overcome mistrust and believe that there are some trustworthy people?
Well, mistrust tends to come from stereotypes, I would think. We all see that, and it's difficult at times if there are stereotypes. However, I guess what I was discussing here is that whilst it might be hard at times, where it's safe to do so and where it makes sense, perhaps step outside your comfort zone and look to trust, and you might be well surprised that that what you imagined might not happen will happen. Obviously, some situations make that difficult, and you want to make sure that you pick your situations carefully. But what I would suggest is perhaps internalize why don't you trust someone to start with. Has there been an example of behaviour? Because if there hasn't been any examples and it's just something that you have in your mind, perhaps it's time to challenge your own view.
Thank you. For the last question, Lynn will read the last question for us for the interest of time.
Okay. So for the last question, this is from Vina Virgo, and the question is: in your opinion, who would be more trustworthy in this time of remote working? A young employee who is a tech savvy but lacks experience, or someone with years of experience but not that technically trained? Thanks.
Good
Wow, very
question.
good question.
That's
Yeah, good question, Vina. A nice hard one for me to finish with. Look, I think I don't have a clear preference, to be honest, and it probably comes down to what the role was. If the role was substantially technically focused, then that might sway me only because someone with a technical mindset is more likely to have the skill set to do that role. If it's not a technically focused role, then I'm the first person to admit that sometimes you need to learn, and experience is important. So it might be that whilst that person with lots of experience isn't technically capable, they can learn, and if they have the right attitude, I would certainly look at that person as well. But it'll come down to who's the best fit for the role, and my view would be that it wouldn't be trust as such. It would be the right fit in that case.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian. And there's one last. I think Lynn, you can read this
Oh,
one.
this message is from our vice president and COO, Gel Nolasco. So he said that the success of JSI is built on the foundation of trust, and we all owe it to Ian for taking us to where we are now. Always believing we can achieve more, pushing us to achieve more, and being the first to celebrate our success when we indeed had achieved more. Thanks always, Cap. Okay,
Thank
so that's
you.
from Gel.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Ian.
yeah, thank you. In behalf of the other team, also Ian, thank you very much for trusting us. We do agree that of the message of Gel for you, and yeah, you really trust as well, and we feel it very much. That is clearly transcend to us. Thank you
Yes.
for that.
He's
Appreciate
also
that.
sending his apologies for not being able to join today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
we
thank
miss
you.
Gel.
Thank you for you. And again, thank you everyone online. I really appreciate taking your time to join us.
Yes, and also thank you. That's all the questions for today, and we apologize for those questions that are left unanswered. But we do hope that you've learned a lot from this session.
Yep. So, Ian, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, and hope you enjoyed your time with us as much as we loved having you here.
Yes, thank you, Ian.
Nice, great. Thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you who joined us for today. Next week, the show will be made available as a podcast on our official channel on Spotify.
You can also watch this full session on replay on our social media pages. More learning and job opportunities are also announced there, so make sure you've followed and subscribed. So on behalf of our team, our executive producer and creative director Jal Nolasco, our director Sam Satare,
Our social media moderators, Kim, Malin, Micah, Pancha, and JC. My name is Ray.
my name is Lynn, and this is Enablin Media, enabling content through new media. Maraming
Maraming
salamat po.
salamat po.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enablin Media, enabling content through new media.